Hello and welcome everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the second JSP Safety Cast with myself, Joe Gukowski.
I'm Harry Jenner.
Today you join us in a bit of a different location to where we normally do these from. We're actually over in our respiratory test lab over in Carterton, the factory, our respiratory factory, where we make our Powercap Infinity, which is what today's Safety Cast is all about. So to give you a bit of an idea of how the sort of 30-minute event is going to run, Harry's going to give us a bit of an overview of RPE, the difference between a tight fitting and a loose fitting respirator, so negative pressure and positive pressure respiratory equipment. And then we're going to talk to you all about the Powercap Infinity, so what it does, how it does it, what it can protect you against, how to look after it, and ultimately how it will look after you. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Harry to start with, and he's going to take us through that. And obviously, when we get to the end of the initial presentation, we are going to allow sort of 10 minutes for any questions you may have following today's presentation, or that you may have already come with pre-prepared. So yeah, we look forward to answering those at the end. All right, over to you, Harry.
Thanks, Joe. So, as Joe mentioned, just wanted to start this off by giving a quick overview of RPE as a whole. So, RPE, respiratory protective equipment, is designed to protect the wearer from hazardous contaminants in the air. It's just a reminder that RPE should be both adequate and suitable. Adequate for the task environment, adequate for the hazard to reduce exposure levels to a level designed to protect the wearer's health, and suitable for the task environment so that PPE and RPE can be worn in conjunction without any risks, any additional risks. Now, there are two types of RPE that we're going to focus on today, being tight fitting and loose fitting. Tight fitting RPE is powered by your lungs through negative pressure. And something important is that you must be clean shaven within 8 hours of starting your shift.
Yeah.
And that an effective seal needs to be made around the face area. And that is clean down to the skin. Loose fitting RPE works through positive pressure, blowing a positive amount of air into the face area. And there is no need to fit test. And you can sport a beard while wearing it. This can save your company time, money, and hassle in fit testing. So why actually use respiratory protective equipment? As you can see, dust in the workplace is a huge issue. The HSE figures last year showed that there's 19,000 new cases of respiratory-related diseases every year, with a large majority of these being due to silica. Now, regularly breathing in these contaminants over long periods of time, which is something that we need to focus on, that latency period, can cause a number of different illnesses, including cancer, COPD, asthma, and silicosis. Silicosis is directly caused by silica. And this little infographic here by the Health and Safety Executive really underpins that, I think. 12,000 cases of lung disease deaths every year linked to past exposure at work. And these deaths, we at JSP kind of count as silent killers. If someone has a head injury problem, a fall from height, it's likely it's going to be reported and people are going to know about it. But because of the latency periods of these, awareness and knowledge on it allows it to build up over time and get you later on in your life, unfortunately.
Sort of 12,000 lost places almost from from the workplace. Accidents and fatalities in the workplace per year are reported. They come in, I think it's in total well under 1,000, but 12,000 deaths per year from occupational lung disease and work-related respiratory disease. It's important to remember that's almost like 12,000 accidents that happened 30, 40 years ago that have only taken effect now. So it's important to remember that just because you can't feel it there and then, and that you might feel fine immediately after exposure, it's not necessarily the case further down the line.
Absolutely. And this little video here will just kind of demonstrate how silica and other dust and particles can enter your lungs and affect the system, building up over
it's one of the most common substances on Earth.
Scar tissue.
It can be found in materials like sand and rock, and building products like concrete and brick. When a worker cuts, grinds, or drills materials that contain silica, dangerous crystalline silica dust is released into the air. As the worker breathes, silica crystals flow into his mouth and nose and down the air passages deep into the lungs. The tiny crystals enter the small, fragile air sacs, where oxygen is absorbed into the blood. Immune system cells, called macrophages, engulf and try to dissolve the crystals, but they are unable to. Over time, more and more crystals build up inside the macrophage cells. The macrophages carry the silica into the walls of the lung, where they die. Scar tissue forms around the dead cells and spreads as more cells die. This damage can continue even after the exposure to silica stops. Eventually, so much scar tissue forms that the lungs can no longer function.
It's quite a harrowing video there of how dust and or harmful dust in the workplace can build up and cause damage over long periods of time. This little infographic here, I think, really effectively demonstrates the needs of wearing your RPE properly, particularly when you're being clean shaven. You can see a piece of human hair there in the middle of the sort of infographic, and a piece of fine beach sand. So fine beach sand will likely be protected by your body's natural defences, mucus and things like nose hair as well. Where silica is 7 to 10 times smaller than that and will slip through the defences if your RPE is not correctly fitted, if you're not clean shaven. Just a reminder that includes people like me that really try, can't really grow a beard. So yeah, ensuring that you are correctly fitting your RPE. So what you're probably asking them, I am someone that wants to keep supporting their beard, but also wants to protect themselves in the workplace. And our solution to that is our flagship powered air product, the Powercap Infinity, which is developed over 5 years by JSP's in-house R&D team, provides incredibly effective protection against both dust and particles. It's integrated above the neck, 4-in-1 PPE, is a modular and incredibly easy to maintain unit with filters that can snap on and snap off when needed. The head top unit allows you to access areas that you may not have been able to before while wearing powered air, removing the need for the heavy and restrictive motored belt units, and potentially removing the risk of snagging points caused by the hose as well. Certain features in the Powercap Infinity allow for extended use, and one of the things that underpins this is the 8-hour battery life will go throughout your whole shift. And as mentioned before, suitable for beard wearers, and there's no need for fit testing, potentially saving your company time and hassle. On the screen here, you see a few sort of suitable applications for the Powercap Infinity. Obviously, quite a wide range here. It's really important to keep in mind that it is a particle and dust filter only. So things like weed killing, paint stripping, you may think, oh, that's chemical based, and it can actually be both. It can be particulates of dust. So it's just important that before buying products, get in touch with us. We'll be happy to recommend if it is suitable for your needs. So I like to think about the Powercap Infinity as the solution to a puzzle, and each element of the above the neck PP protection as the puzzle pieces. So I'm going to take you through each part of the puzzle now, starting with head protection. I think everyone understands the risks to your head in the workplace, on construction sites, bricks falling, things flying through the air and hitting you. Want to stay protected. Our Powercap Infinity's helmet is built around our Evo 5 Olympus, which features a strong, but also lightweight ABS shell, and conforms to the EN 397 standard European regulations for a safety helmet. Inside is also fitted with our Revolution Flex wheel ratchet harness, and this comes with Evolution 3D adjustment system, allowing for a close and comfortable fit to the neck. There's also a large comfort pad on the back here, which follows the contour, user's neck, again promoting comfort and allowing you to wear the unit throughout your whole shift. So the next piece, eye and face protection. The unit features a panoramic impact visor, which is optical rated to class 1, meaning that there is visible minimal distortion and that it will not damage your eyes. You can wear it for, again, over extended periods of time. It's rated up to B in impact, offering protection against speeds of up to 270 miles per hour or 120 meters per second. And this is tested using a 6mm steel ball bearing. Visor features a KN coating, meaning it's got both anti-scratch and anti-mist properties, and you can get a replaceable peel-off cover, as Joe is showing here, to help prolong its life. Third piece of protection on the unit is ear protection. Optional, but also very important in many workplace settings. I think something that people aren't too aware of in a lot of situations. The unit has been tested and developed in-house again to be compatible with our full Sonus range, offering a wide range of SNRs, starting out at 26, in the middle is 31, and topping out at 36 SNR. The helmet adapter and the cushion surface area work together to provide optimum pressure and comfort. And something you can be rest assured with the Infinity is that you're not over or under protecting yourself with the ear defenders, as they are tested to be compatible. And the final piece of the puzzle, completing the solution, is the respiratory protection that the unit provides. It's a turbo hood class 3, which is the highest level you can get for a product like this, offering 99.8% filtration efficiency and an APF of 40. Now, it's worth keeping in mind that we recommend in most workplace situations an APF 20 is sufficient, showing that this meets and exceeds the recommended levels. 2 filters will be used in tandem as efficiently as possible. And just a bit of information that you'll find on every filter is a particulate filter, as we mentioned. It's reusable over a period of time that we recommend, which we'll go into a bit later, and will protect against both solid and liquid particles. Yeah, so it will actually do liquids as well, particle based. So what Joe's going to do now is just put on the unit, and we're just going to show kind of how it works a little bit. The drive control unit sort of monitors airflow that's being delivered from a minimum rate of 160 litres per minute to a maximum of 240. The air passes through the filter, obviously is filtered out, clean air is then read by the motor twice per second and fed to the face area.
So if we just ask our team behind the screen if they can just drop the slides for a second, right? And then I'll switch it on, and Harry will sort of take you through what's happening with the unit whilst it's being worn. When I put it on, so can we change the view? There we go. Right. So I'm going to switch it on. See the blue and red light there? That's the unit measuring zero pressure, if you like. So it gives a true reading and allows it to get up to that 160 litres of air per minute. It's always important to switch it on before donning it, and that's because, as I say, it gets a true reading of how hard the unit needs to work to give that minimum of 160 litres. And also, if you put the unit on before turning it on, whilst it is loose fitting, there's then no air being supplied inside the visor, which would make it quite uncomfortable for the wearer. So switch it on, 2 tabs pull down under the chin. Now, Harry's going to talk through the what the lights mean on the front here, but you can see the green light here, which I can also see from inside the unit. Now, that means it's running as it should do. For me, the wearer, I'm getting the minimum amount of clean air that I need, but also my colleagues, so Harry can see that. So if anything were to go wrong with the unit in terms of filter clogging or battery life, which Harry will explain in a second, both myself and my colleagues can see that. And if we're wearing ear defenders and we can't hear any audible alarms, there's that visual option there. In terms of the airflow, I'm just going to start to replicate a higher work rate, and you can talk through what's happening there, Harry. So
yeah, so say just to start breathing heavier, as you would be if you were working in a more intense setting, and you can just hear now the motor, it's reading that, speeding up, delivering the extra airflow up to that level of 240 litres per minute, filtering through still see it. You can really hear it speeding up now. You can also see the anti-mist properties in effect, quickly demisting as we go through. So, as Joe mentioned earlier as well, the LED warning system will inform you when things aren't working under acceptable parameters. As you can see, screen now working as expected and properly. This, however, will turn blue when the filters start to clog, warning you that you should take yourself out of the hazard zone and get those filters replaced. Once again, really quick and easy, snap on, snap off, snap off, snap on. When the battery is 30 minutes away from dying, this green light will be accompanied by a red light, a flashing red light, telling you that if it's going to take you a while to get out of the hazard zone, you should probably start thinking about it now. And with 15 minutes to go, green light will turn off, red light would flash and be accompanied by an alarm. This tells you that it's time to get out of the hazard area, either replace the battery or get it charging for your next shift tomorrow. So what Joe is going to do now is just show you how quick and easy to maintain the unit is. As mentioned, it is a modular unit. You can take it all apart by hand, and there's no need for sort of specialist tools. It can be done in sort of a couple of minutes.
Brilliant. No, thank you, Harry. So yes, one thing with not just the Infinity, but a number of JSP products that we try to promote is in-use life. So giving you, the wearers, the ability to replace parts of the product as and when you need to, as opposed to having to replace the whole thing. And as Harry said, it's a modular unit. So the idea is the vast majority of it can be treated as serviceable spares. See, there are more expensive elements to it that you wouldn't want to necessarily lose, such as the battery, which you can flip out nice and easily. To say you can, some people do run 2 batteries. It'll charge to full in 3 hours and run for a full eight hour shift. Which means if you ran 2, you'd never be without a battery at full charge. But a fairly reasonable 3 hour charge to full works for a lot of people. So that's spare number 1. That just unclips the wire here at the back. Obviously, replaceable filters. We recommend a change every 28 days. That is best practice. And the reason we talk about 28 days is, you imagine the filter beds. I'm just going to show you here. The filter's made of 2 parts. You've got the main body of the filter, and then you've also got these pre-filter pads. Pre-filter pads are designed to catch larger particulate in the air, stopping the main body of the filter filling up and ultimately being sort of exhausted quicker than it would be otherwise with a good pre-filter maintenance regime. So to say, every day if you change those, you're going to make that last that full length of time. Obviously depending on work environment and concentration of contaminant. So the reason we say 28 days for filter, if you look in there, you can see that's melt blown polypropylene is what we use to filter out the particulate. But if you're wearing this in an outdoor environment where it's potentially damp in the air, moisture in the air, as well as the contaminant you're breathing in, creates a pretty unpleasant environment over time in sort of potentially warmer environments as well. So to say 28 days is best practice and is what we would encourage. And if it's exhausted before then, the motor will give you an alarm with that blue light, as Harry mentioned earlier. So say the filters, so both come off nice and easily, 4-inch turn, they snap off, and then they break down into their pre-filter and main filter body. You can then also remove this skirt, which, so you can imagine, being worn in potentially high work rate environments can get a bit mucky. So that can be machine washed at 30 degrees or just hand washed in warm water in the sink. You just unclip the helmet head strap here. You just unhook skirt like so. And that also gives me the opportunity, again, another replacement part, because I can remove the full head strap and you can also replace just the sweatband as well. So again, in-use life, prolonging the life of the unit for the wearer. Now, before I remove the skirt, I can take the whole visor off, just here. That unclips, the short push, the pull, and replicated on the other side. So I'm now left with just the helmet. Again, another replaceable part is the helmet. We recommend with any of our safety helmets, should you have an incident on site or drop it from a relatively high area, say off a scaffold or something onto a hard tarmac, that would count as an incident, and you should replace the helmet. What we don't want you to have to do is to replace the full motor unit if it's still in working order. So then you replace that helmet, take the skirt off the visor, quickly unclip that side, and it just peels round and clips again. As I say, that can go in the wash at 30 degrees or warm water in the sink and left to air dry. You'd never hang a Powercap Infinity skirt on a line or anything like that. The neoprene material, if it's weighted with water, can potentially stretch you to full. We always recommend just leaving dragged on the side and left to air dry. Finally, we've got the visor. So you've got peel offs here. Again, potentially not a daily change, but maybe changing them once a week is going to really prolong the life of that visor and protect those coatings on there. Anti-scratch, anti-mist coatings are great, but if left exposed to and obviously silica dust, for example, which is ultimately very, very fine crystalline substance that comes from concrete, that's going to create quite an abrasive environment, particularly if you're wiping that off all the time. So peel-off's really helpful on that visor lifespan. And just for the quick, a couple of tabs in here, hard to see because of the clear plastic, but it just we've got plenty of videos online that show you a little bit more in detail of how to remove the visor. Just a bit of a wobble, and then it comes out. Okay, again, replaceable itself, and the motor itself can also be purchased as a spare part. So really, it is fully modular, fully serviceable by you, the user. No specialist tools required, as Harry said there. So means you've got an effective respiratory program that identifies what needs to be maintained, how often the filters need to be changed. They should be able to be done on site by a trained individual. Training which we happily will offer. Okay.
Slide back up. So, to recap of the LED and the drive motor unit, how it works, and how easy it is to maintain as well. Just a reminder, no specialist tools. As you saw that Joe, you could take it completely apart quite happily. So just to wrap up, just to confirm, we have developed this product with the customer in mind. The Infinity offers the highest level of possible protection, of being comfortable, still being well balanced, being able to use it for a long period of time throughout your working day. It's an integrated 4-in-1 solution for everything above the neck. It can save you a lot of money in face fit testing, and you beard wearers can wear it without worrying and knowing that you are protected. Finally, just to ensure that you are sort of getting the levels of protection expected, there is onboard audible and visual alarms. So if you have any questions at this point, please feel free to pop them in the chat and we'll be happy to get back to you.
Yeah, so yeah, questions, if they could just be typed in the chat there, and then we'll go through them. That'd be great. I did see a hand go up, so if you can just type that in. Yeah. Right, if you want to put something in the chat there. Just make sure it's popped up. Thank you.
Do you know what?
No, unfortunately not. We're unable to put punching straps on our Infinity at this time. Right, it's to do with where the strap would sit and potentially interfering with the that positive pressure seal. Okay. As I say, we've got plenty of time, so if you want to ask us any questions, we're more than happy. Here we go. Yeah, of course. So one short push on the back, the battery just gives you how much power is left in the tank. Not to be confused with if you switch it on. Let go there. See, that remains with just one red light. That doesn't mean you haven't got any battery. That's just a light signalling that the unit is on and running.
Yes, Stephen, we do have kind of maintenance forms that will sort of tell you each element to check before sort of donned, and also in terms of long-term maintenance. No other filters are available. It is just a sort of dust and particle filters only. Yeah, so just further to that, Harry, with the other filters, we as a team spoke to our R&D team when that came out. We did ask the question, and it's to do with where the filters are drawing the air in from. So it's designed around dust. To have any sort of gas vapor filters to work, size of the filter, would have to be pretty large to fit all the activated carbon in and whatnot. Yeah, which then make it quite uncomfortable wear versus the dust environment. Then in terms of welding, whilst the level of protection provided is meets the or exceeds the minimum recommendation of the of an APF of 20, we don't recommend this product as a welding product. And again, it's to do with where the air is being drawn in there, over the welding fume. Heat resistance levels listed on the face mask.
So the visor is T-rated, so it's tested to higher temperature working. I mean, if you're talking sort of foundry levels, you know, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. What kind of heat environment are we? If you can put in there the temperatures that you're working at, that'd be great, and we can potentially expand a bit further on that. Battery life for 8 hours, does that alter with higher or lower delivery of air? So the battery life of 8 hours, that is us giving an average based on an adapting flow rate. So if you were to leave this in a clean room running at 160 litres of air, I think we've done it in its run for 11 hours. But, you know, that's with it not being challenged by any particular, no increase in breathing from the wearer. So I think, you know, 8 hours is what to work off. But yes, you may get a bit more than that, depending on the work environment and the amount of hazard in the air. So incinerator maintenance. So okay, as I say, it's really more about the sort of the temperature it's tested to. You know, the visors say tested to work in high temperatures. I think 50 degrees plus, and it's also tested to, you know, molten metal splash on the visor. But I'm assuming the incinerator probably isn't on when you're maintaining it. So you need to know a little bit more about the environment, but feel free to give us a ring. We can actually have a conversation about it. We'll put all of our contact details in the chat at the end, Ray, can't we? The lifespan of the product. So really, thanks for that, JB. Really, it's it will last as long as it's looked after. For example, the helmet, we'd recommend changing that every 5 years in line with our recommendation across the whole JSP Safety helmet range. Again, filters, we recommend changing every 28 days. But say really, it comes with a 24-month warranty, but we'd expect it to last far beyond that with good maintenance and pre-use checks. Residual heat. Okay. So Graham, I'll take that question offline here today, and I'll speak to our technical department about that. Because I'm not, whilst there's bits of the product that may be fine, I'm sure there's other bits that potentially wouldn't be advisable. Okay. But as I say, Ray's put our email in there. Ray, if you can also just follow up with our sales telephone line and our technical helpline as well. You know, there's myself, Harry, and the wider internal team that be able to speak to you if you've got any further questions or want to, you know, Graham, as I say, if you want to give us a ring and we can have a conversation in a bit more depth about the environment you're working in, we're more than happy to do that. But other than that, thank you ever so much for attending today. Appreciate you sort of giving us the time and taking the time to listen to us. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you guys again. We're hosting the next one of these in January on our Evo Vista. So I'm sure we'll be publishing sign up links and things for that. So feel free to sign up, come along and learn a bit more about another one of our products. Thanks ever so much.
Thank you, guys.